Chapter 9. Kylie. 4 Zeiton 574 AF to 21 Emberus 574 AF. "Can't you even clean yourself properly?" Apple asked, his whiskers twitching as he watched me brush Rennick's coat. Our elderly gray plow horse stood, patient and amused, as the cat insulted him. It must be so inconvenient to be a horse. "That's what he has humans for," I told the plump tabby, my voice echoing in the nearly empty barn. "To take care of him." Humans. Apple sniffed, his tail arching in disdain. Cats, I learned quickly, were always disdainful of humans. You can't even clean yourselves properly. "I'm clean," I retorted, indignant. "I take baths." Baths. He shuddered, as if the word were some great horror. So unsanitary, so much wet. "So you've said." I rolled my eyes. "But humans like wet." I grinned when he shivered again, before stalking away, muttering. "You shouldn't tease him so much," Rennick chided me gently. He turned his head to stare at me with one soulful brown eye. "Cats know many things, and you might need their help one day." "Apple can barely help himself out of a tree." I made a face. "I doubt he knows much of anything." "Never underestimate others for their appearance, Sky Lily." He nudged me with his nose and snuffled at my stomach until I giggled. "Judgment is beneath you." I sighed and wrapped my arms around his neck. "I'll try." From the corner of my eye, I saw my twin slowly withdraw his head from the barn. I had no doubt that he, and the others, thought I was mad. It was not the first time I had been caught talking to the animals. I didn't care. Rennick was my friend, tender-hearted and gentle, and listened to my secret thoughts and wishes, which I had never been able to tell my siblings. I told him my fears and wept into his neck. He endured it all with unfailing compassion. I would not give up his company for the guise of sanity. I do not know when I developed my aptitude for animals, but I understood them long before I could hear the thoughts of my siblings, and I loved them in a way I was never able to imitate with people. Animals were simple. They kept no secrets, told no lies, and did no harm except in their own defense. I admired them and longed to be one of them for much of my childhood. That is not to say that I liked all the animals. I did not much care for chickens. Their inane chatter was mostly about food and fear, and their constant clucking ground against my nerves. I did not like the pigs either, for they spoke only of food, and stared at me greedily, as if wondering what I might taste like. I was thankful my gift ended at animals. I had no desire to understand insects, nor spiders. But I loved the birds, who sang of freedom and love and the glorious fight to survive. I loved the goats, who told me of the joy of climbing and leaping and the feeling of cold mountain air around them. I loved the cats, prickly and sarcastic though they were, and named them all, though it was rather pointless since they ignored me no matter what I called them. Most of all, I loved Rennick. Rennick made me want to be better, to become worthy of his unconditional love and loyalty, though my cynicism often undermined these intentions. His friendship was my only comfort in the dark, early years of my life, and I thought we would be together forever, our future stretching out endlessly before us. But Rennick had been old when I was young, and finally there came a day, shortly after Elixon's arm had healed from breaking, when I journeyed out to the barn to care for him, and found him collapsed on his side in his stall, his eyes wide and staring. My grief and my screams brought the others at a run, and they found me collapsed beside him, weeping and inconsolable. We buried Rennick near the apple trees he had once loved, though digging a hole large enough took more than half a day from our chores. It took all 6 of us to drag Rennick's body from the barn to the grave. It would have been simpler to cut him into pieces, but the others thankfully did not mention it. I carved his marker myself, carrying the largest stone I could manage to the head of his grave, and spent the rest of the afternoon with hammer and chisel, carefully spelling his name into eternal stone. When I finished, I curled onto the soft dirt above him and wept, my heart broken into jagged shards within my chest. It was then that I learned a simple truth of life. Everything, no matter how awful or how wonderful, everything eventually changed.